has to be one of the most important things in my entire kit, and it's essentially replaced my Sony a7 IV, which these are almost the exact same camera, perfect lens. It's fantastic for photography, it's optically near perfect. Has anyone else spent way too much time or money searching for the perfect camera bag? I've landed with this Peak Design travel bag because it stands up on its own, which is nice when you're out shooting. It also opens up completely from the back as opposed to one of those bags that has like the side opening. So it opens up completely from the back, and you can also put different camera cubes in it with different sizes, which has become really versatile and useful for me. And because we're not gonna film this entire video with a huge backpack in the way, let's just, and much better. And we're absolutely gonna make a mess today. The first camera of the two in the kit is the Sony ZV-E1. It's got ridiculously high quality video, and it's obviously super compact. I think this camera has been really impressive because the 4K 24 looks fantastic with that updated color science that I've been noticing in the newer Sony cameras, but it also shoots 4K 120 slow motion with only like a 1.1 crop, which is next to nothing. I'm using it for my vlog shots, this main studio shot that you're seeing right now, or the past YouTube videos, because this one's not being recorded with this camera, obviously, more on that camera in a little bit. But most of the main studio shots, all my vlog shots, slow motion B-roll, fantastic A-cam for video. And I have a ton of tutorials on the channel about this camera, so you can check those ones out if you happen to have a ZV-E1 or you're thinking about picking one up. And this is the Sony EC-M1 microphone. Might be a little bit overpriced if I'm being honest, but also the quality is just so good. And it connects the newer Sony cameras with this digital hot shoe, which means you don't need to have any cable attached to the camera to get clean audio. Ton of different settings on here, from recording directly in front of the mic or omnidirectional all the way around it. Has an auto setting, which I actually like a lot, especially for like a vlog style shot. It's kind of just the all-arounder. I've been really impressed with this microphone. The PYG Tech Mantis Pod. This little travel tripod has been great. It works as like a desk tripod, pretty simple there. You can also just like quickly change the angle of that to get like a lower shot. But also you can have a pretty versatile situation here because it can actually hang from like any ledge when you're out shooting and you want a really quick angle. You could get that with a full-size tripod, but the benefit of this is simply just how small it is and easy to pack. But the main reason why I have this is because of the next thing in my bag. And that is the Sony 20mm f1.8 G lens. I don't know why this is a G lens. This is really the quality of this lens and the build quality, the image quality, everything. It really should be one of Sony's G Master lenses, but we save a good amount of money with it only being a G lens. I got this lens because I wanted something wide enough to be able to vlog with, but also with that 1.8 would perform really well in low light situations. I was concerned this 20mm wouldn't be wide enough to vlog with, and that's because I want to use it with the ZV-E1 primarily, which this camera has a really nice stabilization feature called active dynamic stabilization, which gives you really smooth footage when you're walking around and trying to vlog. The problem with that, it does crop in a little bit, and 20mm already maybe not being wide enough to vlog with, it might create a little bit of an issue. But when you pair it all together, one sec, and there we go. When you pair all this together, typically with that 20mm 1.8, if you want to vlog like this, you're not getting that much reach and it might be a little bit too tight. This extra grip, we're getting a lot longer, so we're getting a little more reach, and what I think is making for some really high quality little vlog setup. I'm actually out right now in Austin, Texas with my girlfriend Savannah. We just wrapped up a really good workout, one of my favorite gyms called On It. I might even show y'all some of the footage and the photos that I got using some of the gear that we're talking about in today's video, but you don't care about that. You care about getting back to the studio and taking a look at what's next in my camera bag. The A7C Mark II is the second camera in my kit. This is a newer addition to my bag, and it's essentially replaced my Sony a7 IV, which these are almost the exact same camera, but the a7C a little bit more compact, which does have its trade-offs between the a7 IV, but a little bit more compact, and it has the newer features that Sony's putting in its cameras, like the AI-based autofocus, the auto framing, and the ability to install user LUTs. And for me, that was a big enough reason to swap it out to match some of the other cameras in my bag. And it's also exceptional for photography. So this is the hybrid in the kit. The ZV-E1 being focused on video, this one being really good as a B cam for video, as well as fantastic for photos. These two cameras together, by far my favorite two combinations of 2023. And this camera gets really, really good when you pair it with the Sony 35 f1.4 G Master lens. This 35-1.4 is renowned as the almost perfect lens. It's fantastic for photography. It's optically near perfect, but it has one issue with video, and that's focus breathing, which is not so good and a bit distracting for video. But with these newer Sony cameras, they have a feature called lens compensation. crops in a little bit, but takes out any of the focus breathing, which has made this one of my favorite lenses for photography and videography. And if you've been watching the channel, a lot of the most recent videos are filmed with this 35 1.4. And what camera bag is complete without a mid-range zoom lens? This is the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 G2 lens. And at least in my kit, it's a fantastic mid-range zoom. It's great in the studio as a B cam when you don't want to deal with the primes. In terms of like with a zoom, you can get micro adjustments to your frame and not have to actually move the camera back and forth. So it's great for that. It's also a really good all-arounder photography lens. And it's really fast with that constant f2.8 on the aperture, which is really good for a zoom. Usually you have to pay a premium for that, but these Tamrons, I think the quality is fantastic and you're saving a ton of money. These coming in around 800 bucks, which is a lot lower than a lot of other like 24-70 f2.8s. In general, it's like the Swiss Army lens in my bag. Standard blower, keep your lenses clean. I gotta do a way better job at that. And then for filters, I have two VND filters. The first one is the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon. It's the Gen 1, 2 to 5 stop. This is your standard 2 to 5. Use this one all the time. It's gonna make light a lot darker, kind of like putting sunglasses on the front of your lens, which helps out a ton for flexibility of exposure. After that, I just have a Freewell 6 to 9 stop when it's ridiculously bright. Use this one a lot less, but it does come in clutch in the right situations. If you're getting something from this video, let me know by giving it a tap on the thumbs up. And while you're down there, let's have some fun in the comments. Do me a favor, let's flood Sony's account. Go ahead and tag @ImagingBySony to see if we can't get their attention to have them finally start showing this channel some love. This has to be one of the most important things in my entire kit. It's also probably the least expensive besides this guy. And that's a color checker. Now you might be thinking that looks a little bit complicated and maybe is only for people like me doing videos about cameras and needing to get our colors just right. But where this thing is really important, actually has nothing to do with this panel here. It has everything to do with this one here. Being able to set your white balance in camera has become one of the most important things to make my videos look good. It's one of those basic things that we often overlook, but I can promise you if you master it, it's gonna be an absolute game changer. And you don't need to get one like this, which is like 100 bucks. For 90% of you out there, you can get a $15 one for Amazon. It's gonna give you all the benefits. I have a guide coming up on the channel in the next few weeks about exactly how to use something like that to nail your white balance, which I promise you is gonna be a big difference in making your videos look good in conjunction with nailing your exposure. I've already got that 2-part guide done. I'll put a link down below. It's free. Check that video guide out if you want to make your videos look great. For drones, I have the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I chose to get the one that came with the RC controller with the display built in there. So I have to like use my phone with the controller, which is kind of annoying. This drone's great. Some newer ones have come out recently that are also really nice. But I love the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I don't use it as much as I want to, but it's really nice to have that angle when you need it. And on the DJI trend, we have the DJI mic system. So in those situations for me where my EC-M1 microphone isn't close enough, like the camera's far away, or I have two people that I want to kind of get together on an interview, I love this mic system. It's ridiculously simple and easy, and the audio quality is pretty good. For SD cards, I'm using the Sony Tough cards. And these cards are, yeah, they're a little bit pricey, but a lot of these cameras, at least all the ones I have here, only have one SD card slot, which usually if you're shooting something like once in a lifetime style, you want 2 SD cards for redundancy in case one of them fails. At least what I've seen, the technology's come a really far way in these cameras to only have one SD card slot, but using quality SD cards is pretty key to not having one of them fail. And for batteries, I have this Nomadic Peter McKinnon battery case, which is magnetic and really kind of satisfying. But I have a bunch of these Sony FZ batteries that are always just kind of available. I haven't found, like, if I have like 2 for a shoot, I'm usually good. I think I have 5 total because I have 3 cameras in total, so they kind of go through pretty quick. But 1 camera, 2 or 3 batteries should be just fine. And for computers, I'm using the Apple M1 Max. I think this is a 16-inch, maybe a 15, I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot of computers that have come out since this one that are also really impressive, but this one does fantastic for me. I can edit all the footage and all the codecs coming out of these higher-end Sony cameras really seamlessly, so it's like if it's not broke, don't fix it. I love this computer. And for those of you who are like, what about the A6700? A6700 is still in my bag, and right now I have it paired with a Sony f1.4 15mm G lens. This lens and camera combination have become a really good C camera for me, which I know 3 cameras is ridiculous, and most YouTubers are not gonna have 3 cameras, unless you're making videos like I am about cameras, in which case it can come in handy to have 3 different cameras. This one's been living in the studio and hasn't been out as much. When I do take it out, it just replaces the A7C Mark II because it is a crop sensor version of that camera. Very similar crop sensor, you're gonna save a good amount of money, but really good for photos and really good for videos, and pairs extremely well with the ZV-E1. If you'd like to learn how to use your cameras better or see gear reviews, I'd love to have you join the other very talented and highly attractive people who are subscribed to this channel, and you can do that right here. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. See ya.